Oh, hello, friends. Good afternoon. Hello, hello, hello. Hope everybody's still here. I saw some in chat. Hopefully everybody hung around still. Angel, hello. How you doing, honey? I know you said you were going to go take a nap, so I hope you have a good nap, Angel. Stacy Martell, hi. How are you? Anna D, hi. How's everybody doing today? Happy Monday. Woke up. 1984, how are you? Tarak, yo, yo. Good to see you. Yes, Tarok. I thought the same thing, maybe a gift. But that's why when you asked his birthday, I wanted to at least let you know. We do know his birthday, yes. Um, Angel D, you ready for some snark? I don't know how much snark I'm going to be doing today, but, um, you know, I'm feeling like Kakafui, but it's okay. Woke up, trying. Yeah, I haven't been able to really, like, be live or anything. I just have a hard time staring at the screen. But I do have like the brightness down on the screen, and I have the computer hooked up to the TV on the big screen so that it's a little bit easier for me to see things and I'm not straining my eyes. And I have like the brightness turned down. So hopefully that's going to help. I'm sore as fuck, but I tell you what, my doctor gave me these kick ass like numbing patches for my ribs, and they are amazing. So love that. Love that. Basically, my ribs are just where that's all numb. So I'll take it, right? It makes it a little easier for me to move around and stuff. It's just the my eyes. The screens are really yeah, exactly. I won't be on here long. Just wanted to go through a couple things though, because I know before I had my little accident, there was obviously some docs we didn't get to. Um, and I figured we might as well. Some of them aren't too long. It's only a couple. Yes, I have on my blue lights. I on too. Hi, how are you? Welcome on in. Who am I missing? Christy. Hi. Welcome in, honey. Echoes. Hi. How are you? Thank you for being here. Sky. Hi. Trying to get over to comments here. Elisanda. Hola, ¿cómo está, mi amiga? How you doing? Welcome in. Yeah, I got on a numbing patch right now. My doctor gave me some numbing patches, so she kicks ass. It's my head. It's my head that's bugging me. Oh, yeah, Tar Rock. Yeah, I remember that in the beginning. Hmm. I don't know, though. You know, I don't know. I can only go by what docs say. At this point, I'm done with the rabbit holes. You know what I mean? So far, I haven't seen Brent's name yet. I promise you, if his name comes up, we'll be all over it, you know? Amethyst, hi, honey. How are you, Paco? Hi. All right, so welcome on in, everybody. Thank you for being here. Seashells, hello. How are you? I don't know what kind of a day it is where the rest of you are, but it's freezing cold and it was snowing earlier where I am. So, ugh, I'm cold. I have a blanket on. I figure, well, might as well. I can probably do about an hour, hour and a half. We'll look at a couple of things. There's just you know, because I'm bored and I'm so story time. Little fun fact about me: I can't sit still. Never have. Don't know how. For me to have to sit still for like days straight and not do anything is insanity. Um, so even though I can't move around too much, and there isn't a lot I can do, every now and then, little while here, a little while there, I hop on and I mark up some things and I read some things. So that's what I wanted to look at today. And it's hot and sunny in Florida. I'm jealous, very jealous. I can't wait for hot and sunny. Can't wait. Yes, that's right, Christy. Agreed. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way in, huh? Or you can thumbs it down. Follow your heart. But you should give it a thumbs up just because I'm injured. Kidding. All right, so let's see. Where did I want to start first? Yeah, I want to start here first. I'm going to share this. If I have mods in chat, love you. Thank you for being here. And I am going to be Meg P. Hi, honey. How are you? Fuck. Which one was it again? Hang on. Sorry, guys. First one. That one. Alternative perpetrator. All right. Hopefully everybody can see this one okay. All right. So, I was trying to remember too. Maybe we did already look at this one. I honestly can't remember. I probably could have gone back and looked to see which. I tried to remember which ones I've already covered. But Audrey, darling, good morning. Well, good afternoon. Hi, honey. I was trying to listen in with you and Kathy yesterday, but I can't be staring at screens. But I did catch some of you, lovely ladies, yesterday before my meds kicked in. Greg Mertz, how you doing? Meg P. Did I miss you, honey? Hope I didn't. Thanks for being here, Audrey. Hope you're having a good day, honey. Jeannie the crime tourist, hello. Who else am I missing? If I missed you, I'm sorry. So, guys, I don't know if I already read this to you. If I did, sorry, it's short. We'll just take a quick little peeky poo at it anyway. OCD Shaggy, how you doing? Mish Girl, hi, honey. How are you? All right. I'm going to be in another window reading real quick. So if you come in and say hi, sorry if I miss you. This one's not going to be too long. I just wanted to cover it again because I couldn't remember if we already looked at it. But this is the defendant's objection to the state's motion in limine regarding the alternative perpetrator evidence. How's my audio? Shit. Before I even start reading this, how's my audio, guys? Do I sound okay? We all know I have too many problems with audio. Wonder where Eddie is. Where's Twiz? Hopefully my audio is good, friends. A hoe named Ida. Well, welcome on in. I love that name. A hoe named Ida. Gets me every time. Cracks me right up. Yes, woke up 1984. Okay, yeah. I did post a screenshot of it. I just can't remember if I read through it. Those other lives or not. Echoes. Thank you, honey. My audio is good. Okay. Thanks, honey. I honestly just the brain fog is real. Brain frog. The brain fog is real. And I truly could not remember for the life of me. Jazz King, Bricelli, holy crapola. Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you being in here. All right. So then, yeah, I'll just shut up and I'll get to reading. Beckles, hi, honey. All right. I'm going to go into another window. Oh, good. You just saw Twiz. Okay, cool. Yeah, I was going to text Heather and say I'm live, but I figured maybe she's busy too. But that's okay. If they pop in, I'm going to be in another window reading, so just make sure you tell them I said hello. All right, so here we go. I just couldn't remember if I read this, so we're just going to cover it again quickly, right? Comes now Brian C. Koberger, by and through his attorneys of record, and hereby objects to the state's motion in limine regarding alternative perpetrator evidence filed on February 21st, 2025. More specifically, the state seeks an order prohibiting Mr. Koberger from, quote, offering alternative perpetrator evidence or argument without first satisfying the court that any such evidence is relevant and admissible pursuant to IRE 401, 402, or 403, end quote. For the reasons set forth below, Mr. Koberger objects to the motion. Argument. Mr. Koberger has a right to present a full and complete defense for the crimes of which he is accused, State v. Meister. This right is protected by the Sixth Amendment of the United States Constitution and made applicable to the states through the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment. When presenting a full and complete defense of the crimes charged, Mr. Koberger should be given an opportunity to proffer evidence of an alternative perpetrator so that such evidence can be properly evaluated for relevancy and admissibility under the Idaho Rules of Evidence. The timing of when an offer of proof is made is not clear. In Meister, the Court of Appeals explained that the offer of proof was made during trial. Two unpublished opinions provide guidance that the typical timing of an offer of proof is during trial, State v. Meister. But then they cite State v. Buck here. In Buck, the state filed a motion in limine to exclude alternative perpetrator evidence, but the court ultimately reserved ruling on the motion and ordered the defense to provide the offers of proof before it engaged in questioning on the issue. The state argues that literally thousands of tips regarding possible perpetrators were received by law enforcement during the course of the investigation, and that none of these tips were substantiated, with exception of information regarding the defendant. The state is correct that over 45,000 tips have been disclosed, and tips continue to come in daily. Daily, they're still getting tips. This case is full of alternative perpetrators. The state has chosen to focus on Mr. Koberger at its own peril. Mr. Koberger will produce offers of proof related to many alternate perpetrators in this case that will meet the Idaho Rules of Evidence 401, 402, and 403. Many alternate perpetrators can be connected to the crime. And then Miss Masseth is the one who signed it. Probably she's one of my favorite people. Sidebar, let me come over to chat. Is Miss Masseth not one of your favorite people? Chat, oh my goodness, Lana, darling, hello. Isn't that a great post from Audrey? I know, right, Lana? I love her. She's always got the good stuff, Lana. JB, hello, welcome on in. There's anybody else who came into chat and I missed you, I'm sorry. So I got to say, Miss Masseth here is like one of my most favorite. I don't care what anybody says. Bootsy, how you doing? You're multitasking? Multitask away, darling. There's anybody else I missed. Sorry. P Fox, how you doing, honey? All right, sorry. There's a lot of people who came in and I missed you. I'm sorry, friends. I didn't mean to. Why be so nosy? For fuck's sake, Fitziana, there you are, darling. Good afternoon. Crime Tourist, hello. Mary Holt, hello, welcome in. All right, so yeah. I love Miss Masseth, right? Miss Masseth here is stating that the state has chosen to focus on Mr. Koberger at its own peril. Oh, it hurts to laugh. But you know what? She's like this tiny, feisty little nuclear bomb waiting to go off, is how I feel about Miss Masseth. She's like this tiny little nuclear detonator, right? And once you push the button, you know, love it. She just came in swinging, talking about the state has chosen to focus on Mr. Koberger at its own peril. Like, we're going to slay you. That's literally what she's saying. It's at your own peril. We're going to slay you. Love it. I just love this. You know, don't ask me why, but they're just Miss Masseth from the first time I saw her. I said, holy shit, look at this one. She's a little firecracker. I feel like, don't ask me why, but I imagine her like walking in and her little heels are just like clicking across the floor and she slams her briefcase down on the desk. Like she's had enough of this shit, right? I know Anne has to put up with these people in Idaho like all the time, but I don't think Masseth does, right? She spends most of her time in federal court. So I don't think she even gives a shit about this stuff. Well, not like this. I think she gives a shit, but I think because she spends most of her time in federal court, she's like, wait a minute. The fuck are you all doing over here? What do you mean? This case is full of alternative perpetrators, and the state has chosen to focus on Mr. Koberger at its own peril. At its own peril. That's hysterical. I don't care what anybody says. That's some funny shit. It's probably one of my favorite lines out of all of these docs that I've read so far. The state has chosen to focus on Mr. Koberger at its own peril. Many alternate perpetrators can be connected to the crime. Interesting. All right. So I just wanted to make sure we covered that one real quick in case I didn't go over it with you the other day. I did share a screenshot of it on the community tab. So whatever. If you need to go find the document, it's over there. I just closed it and forgot to tell you which one that was. Alternative perpetrator evidence, I think is what it was. All right, next, what I really wanted to get into today, it's going to be, have that open, that one, 12. Okay, cool. Let's get into this one next. Also, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you everybody for your kind words. I don't know if you guys saw, but the channel is growing. So welcome to all the new subs. If you're in chat, welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, I know, right? JB, she's so sassy and feisty. That's why I like her. Only in Detroit, you made it. Welcome in Detroit. Detroit in the house. Oh, I feel like crapola. All right. So let's see. I'm going to get into this one. Feeling like Hakafui, darling, Leslie and Billy, but thank you for asking. All right. So this one here, as you can see, I've already marked it up, as I do. This is for the make and model, suspect vehicle. So as long as my audio is good and we're good, we're going to get into this one. I've marked it up and I've made a little notes, but I also have the text messages open to kind of go along with it because I just wanted to take a look at something. First and foremost, when we get down to where, let me find it. Just wanted to show this first. Maybe it's not in this one. Maybe it's in the other one. My brain's struggling. Maybe it's in the next one. Who's calling me? I can't answer the phone right now. All right. Maybe it's in this one. Is it in this one? It's not in this one. It's in the other one. There's another document. Maybe I'll show you that one first. Yeah, there's another document. Hang on. I'm going to find it. Shows the little... Did I close it out by accident? Damn it. Which one was it in? Ah, fuck my life. It's not with the car stuff. Maybe it's with the cameras. It shows the little timestamps. It's got like timestamps in yellow, timestamps in pink, timestamps in blue, showing the cameras that picked up the car. Is it in this one? Oh, my brain. Where is it? Anyways, I wanted to show that one to you guys first because I had brought it up to Lana. That's the one that I was looking at, and it talks about at 3:29 a.m. and it's showing the vehicle at 3:29 a.m. in two places. It's saying it's at the 1133 South Main Street address at 3:29 a.m., but then it's also showing that it's at 1125 Ridge Road at 3 a.m. And I think my dumbass closed it out. Oopsie. Oh, nope, here it is. That's what I wanted to show you guys. Oh, maybe it's in the next one. There it is. It's this one. See, Annie, get it together. I've never ever once told you guys to listen to anything I say, right? I've always told you never ever trust anything I say because my brain. So it is in this document. Let me zoom in and I'll show you what I mean. This is why I pointed it out to Lana and I said I'm confused. So at 3:29 a.m., right? Sorry, it's not South Main Street. See, this way I say don't listen to me, friends. 3:29 a.m. right here. They have the vehicle, allegedly, right? Being spotted. There's a camera that's picking this vehicle up at 3:29 at 1125 Ridge. But then it's also saying that at 3:29, 1320 Linda Lane also has the vehicle, right? And it's saying that this vehicle made it in 1 minute from what? 1311 South Main Street at 3:28 a.m. It made it in 1 minute to 1320 Linda Lane. Am I reading that right? Lana, darling, if you're still here listening, this is what I was trying to show you. Maybe I'm just interpreting it wrong or something. And if I am, that's fine. Oh, thanks, Heather. Yep, you're right. That's the document. Heather listed the document for everybody. Oh, Lana probably dipped out. Damn it, Lana. Willie, good morning. Good afternoon. A.R. Hayes, welcome on in. How you doing? Where's Willie? I see people saying hi. Oh, there he is. Yo, Malaka. So, question I have here. Maybe Lana already dipped out. She did. Damn it. All right. So, anyways, what I wanted to point out here is at 3:29 a.m., 1125 Bridge Road, but then also at 3:29 a.m., it is 1320 Linda Lane. Okay. I don't know exactly how one vehicle is being spotted on two separate cameras in streets apart. Maybe I'm just, as everybody says, I read things wrong or I misinterpret them. But that's why I'm asking. Because even if you look at their own thing here, it's saying at 3:29 a.m., 1125 Ridge Road, right? 3:29 a.m., again, 1330 Linda Lane. The 329 in green is the camera that shows down to Taylor. Okay. Not the camera that shows the circling. Okay. But I guess what I can't, maybe I'm just dumb. How is this vehicle being spotted at 3:29 a.m. on 1125 Bridge and also at the same time at 3:29 a.m. being spotted? What, they're pointing, one's going one way, one's going the other? Is that what you mean, honey? Picking them up like at the same time in two different spots? You're probably right. And this is why I'm not the map girl, right? I'm definitely not the map girl at all. Okay. You give me a map and we're still getting lost. It's that simple. So, this is why I'm not going to go too much into this. I just wanted to point out that I thought it was weird that at 3:29 it's showing two different, and I wasn't sure. Anyways, what I wanted to do with this is, as you can see, I've highlighted a few things, and I just kind of put in some notes here that I found interesting. That's all. So, let's see. This is going to be your state's response to the defendant's motion in limine regarding make and model of suspect vehicle. Facts: on November 13th, 2022, Moscow Police Department responded to 1122 King Road. Here after the crime scene, Payne's affidavit is attached. Investigators found 4 deceased individuals who died from apparent stab wounds. Investigators canvassed the crime scene area for surveillance footage to identify the person responsible for the homicides. A surviving roommate, Dylan Mortensen, reported to law enforcement she was woken up around 4 a.m. by noises. As you can see, as we all know, I made a little note here. 3:51 a.m., she is awake and entering a new contact in her phone. So she was not woken up around 4 a.m. by noises. She's already awake and she is adding a new contact into her phone. Investigators were able to obtain surveillance footage from 1112 King, a residence immediately to the northwest of the crime scene. That video surveillance picked up audio of, quote, voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud, end quote. Well, now we know from the defense filings, they're stating there is no audio or video of the crime. No audio, no video. So I'm not exactly sure what video surveillance they're talking about, that they hear voices or a whimper followed by a loud thud. Never mind Hitler saying he hears struggle occurring. And one of Hitler's decisions there when he was denying all their Frank shit, he said that he heard what, in his opinion, is a struggle occurring. According to the defense, there is no audio of the crime. So I'm not exactly sure what the fuck these people are hearing or what video they're watching that they're hearing voices, whimpers, loud thuds, and a struggle. But according to the defense here, there's no fucking audio. Yeah? Makes sense? Right? Heather, you know what I'm talking about, right, honey? That document where they said there's no video or audio of the crime and they put it in big, bold letters. So I'm not exactly sure what Hitler thought he listened to where he could hear a struggle, or what video they're talking about is hearing whimpers and loud thuds. But the defense is saying there is no audio of this crime at all. So I don't know what they're talking about. I really don't. It's very strange. Let's see. In addition, a dog can be heard barking at 4:17 a.m. And I said, well, that's 2 minutes before Bethany calls Dylan. All right? They start calling each other. I think Bethany calls Dylan at 4:19. Dylan reported around this time she saw an unknown male in the residence walking towards the rear exit of the residence. The 1112 King Road video shows a white sedan entering the crime scene area at 4:04 a.m. This same white sedan is seen departing the crime scene area at 4:20 a.m. at a high rate of speed. I put in here in my little notes, conveniently, the 3:51 a.m. through 4:19 a.m. are missing from the release of the text messages. So isn't it interesting? You have this vehicle pulling in at 4:04 a.m., and that is what? 13 minutes after she enters a new contact into her phone. So 13 minutes after she enters the new contact into her phone, this vehicle can be seen entering the crime scene area. Based on the information, investigators focused on identifying the make and model of the white sedan, hereafter suspect or questioned vehicle, seen on the 1112 King Road surveillance. The suspect vehicle is seen on the 1112 King Road surveillance prior to the homicides. Suspect vehicle makes 3 initial passes by the crime scene before entering a 4th and final time. We have 3:30, 3:33, 3:38, 3:40, 3:56, 3:58, and 4:04. So, 13 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 16 minutes, 2 minutes, 4:04, right? So, another 6 minutes. In between this, you have from 2:53 to 3:51 a.m., we have the missing texts. This is the time frame that we're missing texts and whatever for. At 3:51, Dylan is entering a new contact into her phone. This is 5 minutes before the suspect vehicle is making another pass by the house. 5 minutes before this vehicle's passing this house, she's entering a new contact. 7 minutes before it makes another pass. 13 minutes before it actually enters into the crime scene area. Video surveillance capturing the suspect vehicle was collected at additional places near the crime scene prior to the homicides. 1311 South Main Street, also known as Sunset Mart. Well, we all know the famous, it's in Lana's intro. You talking about up there near the Sunset Mart? Rosie, right? Remember Rosie stops those kids? What time was it in the morning? Wondering why they stole the sign from up there by the Sunset Mart. Everybody remember that? Let me come back over to chat. I know it's in Lana's intro, right? The Sunset Mart. You talking about up there near the Sunset Mart? Rosie asking him why they stole the sign. Sorry, I'm looking at my chat. It's not Banfield. It's the stop they do after Banfield for the kid in the Dutch Brother sweater who was at the grub truck. What's his name? Hayden or something. Yeah, you guys remember what I'm talking about, right? It's literally right after he deals with the boys in the Banfield. He stops these other two kids. One of them is the kid that was at the grub truck in the Dutch Brother sweater. And Rosie's asking him, up there at the Sunset Mart where they stole some construction sign or something. So I just go through, I make notes. I think it's interesting that they're referencing the Sunset Mart at 3:28 a.m., right? You've got Rosie over here talking about, oh, wait, you stole that where? Up there by the Sunset Mart? We have so much happening in such a small window of time. Multiple people on the ground, running around. You've got the four in the shadows in Banfield. You got the four that were stopped by Rosie and them, or three or four, however many there were. You got these two being stopped directly after. There's people on foot all over the place over there in this time frame. So you have the Sunset Mart. You have 1125 Ridge Road. You have 1320 Linda Lane, 1330 Linda Lane, and then 451 Paradise, right? And then we have Rob Hill's pages 1 through 10 that are attached. Investigators were able to review those videos and determine the route of travel. Investigators provided video footage to the FBI to determine the year, make, model of the suspect vehicle on the 1112 King Road surveillance. Well, why are you trying to identify the vehicle on 1112 King Road when all of the other video and stills you're relying on are not from King Road? Right? Aren't they mostly relying on Ridge Road? I thought I read that somewhere, that in one of these documents from the state, that the reason they relied so heavily on all of the other stuff, not King Road, is because the videos from King Road, you couldn't make out the car. Much clearer images from the others, yeah? Didn't I read that somewhere? I don't know. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, and he had a lump on his head. That's right. Yeah, Rosie asked him what happened to his head, and he's like, oh, I swear to God, man, it was a couple weeks ago. Don't worry about it. It was just a couple weeks ago, man. I swear. I swear. All right. Anyways, according to Imel's report, the multiple submissions of media were reviewed independently and collectively to identify the questioned vehicle's make, model, and year. FBI report of Special Agent Anthony Imel attached to State's Exhibit S through 4. Of those videos, the 1125 Ridge Road video provided a clear view of the suspect vehicle. That's where I read it. Make and model chart number 3, attached, Exhibit S5. So it's funny that I put this over here in my little notes because the state themselves is saying Anthony Imel's attached Exhibit S4, right? Imel is saying he relied on 1125 Ridge Road video because it provided a clear view of the suspect vehicle. Well, Judge Hitler, in one of his decisions, said he saw no proof that law enforcement or the state relied on Ridge Road evidence. Right? Isn't that what he said? One of his decisions? He saw no proof that the state or law enforcement relied on anything from Ridge Road. Could have sworn I read that. Fitzy probably knows better. I got to take my eyes off the screen for a second. Fitzy probably knows better than I would, but I could have sworn we read in one of these documents from Judge Hitler here, one of his decisions, he said that he saw no proof that the state or law enforcement or the FBI relied on Ridge Road footage or stills. But the state here is saying, yeah, no, that's exactly what the FBI guy relied on. So anyways, it says this video was captured. Oh, sorry. IMO was able to compare this video to the video from 1112 King. So 1125 Ridge is being compared to 1112 King. This video was captured at 4:01 a.m., approximately 3 minutes prior to the suspect vehicle entering the crime scene at 4:04 a.m. This is 10 minutes after Dylan creates a new contact, and we have no activity for her in Bethany until approximately 4:20 a.m., 4:19. So that's why I put that little note in here. She's entering a new contact at 3:51. 10 minutes later, the vehicle enters the crime scene. Interesting, right? Imel's opinion is the questioned vehicle shares similar class characteristics with a fifth-generation Hyundai Elantra between 2014 and 2016. The similar class characteristics include, but are not limited to, the overall body style, window configuration, front grille configuration, headlight shape, side trim, rear brake light configuration, rear license plate position, and rear bumper position. The position of the rear bumper reflector and the shape of the fog lights assisted in narrowing the vehicle year span. IMO report at pages 2 and 3. A white 2015 Hyundai Elantra was registered to the defendant at the time of the homicides. Washington vehicle registration records attached. Let's see. Argument. The state's expert regarding vehicle identification, Anthony Imel, should be allowed to explain to the jury his opinion that the suspect vehicle on 1112 King Road surveillance shares similar class characteristics to a fifth-generation Hyundai Elantra between 2014 and 2015. The defendant claims that the suspect vehicle was not identified from surveillance footage in the area of 1122 King. This is simply not true. Well, the claim is true. Imel's already stating that he's relying on the 1125 Ridge Road footage because it gives the clearest picture of the suspect vehicle, and all they did was compare the vehicle from that to the stills from 1112 footage. So they didn't technically identify the vehicle from the 1122 King Road footage or the 1112 King Road footage. They relied heavily on the 1125 Ridge. State says, though, this is simply not true. As stated in Imel's report, multiple submissions of media were reviewed independently and collectively to identify the questioned vehicle's make, model, and year. The suspect vehicle was picked up on multiple occasions, at least 6 separate locations, all within 0.6 miles from the crime scene, immediately preceding the crimes, less than 1 hour, as indicated below. I did put here, right? So at 3:29, the state is claiming this vehicle is in 2 places at once, because I was like, wait, what? They have it at 1125 Ridge Road at 3:29 a.m., but they also say that the 1330 Linda Lane at 3:29 a.m. So, whatever that means. The videos capture footage in the middle of the night from approximately 3:35 a.m. to 4:07, when there is light vehicle traffic, especially in Moscow. From the review of the surveillance videos, investigators were able to determine the suspect's vehicle path of travel based on the witnessed direction of travel associated with the timestamps. From the review of the 1125 Ridge Road video, which admittedly provides the best view of the suspect vehicle, so they're even admitting 1125 Ridge Road admittedly provides the best view of the suspect vehicle. Hippler saying he saw no evidence the state even relied on 1125 Ridge Road. What the fuck? From the review of the 1125 Ridge Road video, which admittedly provides the best view of the suspect vehicle, investigators were able to determine that the suspect vehicle shared similar class characteristics to a fifth-generation Hyundai Elantra. This video was taken at 4:01 a.m., approximately 0.3 miles from the crime scene. Based on the 1125 Ridge Road surveillance and the other video surveillance, investigators can determine the suspect's path of travel as follows. Right, Ridge Road, Paradise Drive right here. What number did they say caught it? 451? Okay. So then he's coming down this way. So how do you get it? Why aren't they showing how he got in? So the car just appeared on Ridge Road? Right? Maybe I'm not looking at this right, but are they just trying to make it appear as though this vehicle just appeared at 1125 Ridge Road? I thought they said they had video up on Indian Hills. I don't understand how they can't show a clear path in and a clear path out. If all of these other cameras show and make them, do you get what I'm saying? Just seems weird to me. They're starting out at Ridge Road at 4:01 when they just got finished saying they have all of this other footage starting from what, 3 something in the morning, right? You allegedly have video from 3:28 a.m. on South Main Street, so why can't you show a clear path in? Are they saying he came in and parked at Ridge Road? Was he just hanging out at 1125 Ridge Road? Comes in from South Main Street at 3:28 a.m. and then by 3:29 a.m. he's being seen on the vehicles being seen not only on Ridge Road but on Linda Lane. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, it looks like this vehicle came from Cole's house. If you want my personal uneducated opinion. This here looks like this vehicle came from Cole's house. Cole Behrenberg. That's what it looks like they're saying here. Are they insinuating the vehicle came from Cole's? Yeah, Twiz, you're way better at this than me. Hi, Twiz, honey. Welcome on in. Can I give you the link, actually? Maybe you can help me. This is for Twiz, everybody. It's not for you. Hang on one second. Where is my... Okay. That's for you, Twiz. Don't anybody else click the link. It's only for Twiz. I want you to help brain with this map. There's weird little time things they have going on. That's right, James Moen. That's right. Go leave your DNA on that like button. It says there's 171 people watching. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks, guys, for being here. I really appreciate you. Hope you guys are having an awesome. Will it ding me when he clicks in? Yeah, it should ding me if he clicks in. I don't even know if Twiz you can hop on, but if you can, I won't keep you up here for long because I can't be on here for long anyway. But it just looks like what they're, it's strange to me that they're claiming that they have all of these times that this vehicle's being caught, but they can't show you how it entered and how it left based on their own video footage. How did it get in to the neighborhood? Brookie, hello, how are you? Tonka, how you doing? Welcome in. KP, hello. Where's my Mercy Cat? Mercy Cat, darling, if you catch this on the replay, you're probably at work. I love you. I hope you have an awesome, awesome week, friend. Take care of yourself and be safe. All right. Well, oh, Twiz, sorry, maybe you are backstage, honey. My bad. Hang on. Oopsie. Hello.
Yo.
Yo.
I don't really know how much help I'll be on this, but I'll try.
Okay. So you can see the screen though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm having a problem with how did he get in?
Well, nobody
This
knows
little
that.
map
They don't
here.
even know that.
Yeah, this little
They just
map
said
here.
he magically showed up on Indian Hills.
Right. So now I guess my question would be if you know you have video of him on Indian Hills, I don't understand why they're not showing a clear, right? So like I'll go back up here for a second.
You know who else doesn't understand?
Sigh.
Ann Taylor.
I know. So even if you look at this map though, right? So they're claiming over here, 3:28 a.m., this vehicle is at 1311 South Main Street, Sunset Mark. It's
Right.
seen on video here. But then literally 1 minute later, it's at Ridge Road, the 1125 Ridge Road by 3:29 a.m. Also at the same time, 3:29 a.m., 1320 Linda Lane is picking up video as well.
Yeah, that'd be hard to get from there to there in that amount of time.
Well, I guess my thing is why aren't you showing that on this map down here? Why is this map starting at 4:01?
I don't know.
It's a big chunk of time missing between the two. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. That's what Anna's been saying the whole time.
But now if you're looking at this map, doesn't it look to you as though basically what they're saying is that this vehicle came basically from Kohl's?
Yeah, depending on where Coles is. I know she said it's on louder, but I don't know where.
Coles will say the exact address, but we're talking right about where they're saying this vehicle just pops up and heads to the crime scene.
But he doesn't have a white launcher, right?
I don't know. I don't know whose car he was in. I have no idea. I just know that they're
Yeah.
saying that this vehicle just pops up here at the 1125 Ridge and makes it in 3 minutes all the way around. I mean, like Lana said, this person would have to be flying. We're talking like 70 miles an hour.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that far. It's residential. There's probably not even a stop sign between the two, but
Can
it
you
would be
do it in three
close.
minutes?
I'd have to go drive it.
Huh?
I'd have to go drive it. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Can you do that and go see if you can do it in 3 minutes and how fast you'd have to go to make it in 3 minutes?
I could.
Yeah.
That means I
Could you
have to
do
drive
that?
by the house, though.
Well, yeah, I know. You can't drive by the house.
I just don't want to.
You don't want to go over there. That's okay. You don't have to. I was wondering
How
if we
about
could get
this? I'll
someone.
drive
I was
to
hoping we could
King
get
and
someone to run a time test on it.
I'll drive to King and Taylor.
Mm,
That's close.
okay. Because it's basically making it look like not only did this motherfucker teleport to Indian Hills, but then he teleported from Ridge to the crime scene as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's never made sense. I think a lot of those U-turns could just be two cars, one leaving, one coming in at the same time.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
Like, that's a plausible explanation. They don't see the car taking a U-turn. They just see lights.
Right. Right. And it is interesting too that as they're seeing all of these headlights doing all of these weird movements all up around that area, it's at the same time that like it's literally within it. Dylan enters this new contact, and then we have nothing from Dylan and Bethany for like another 30 minutes. And it's just my opinion, but it's almost like what they're witnessing is literally people getting dropped off and then people circling, waiting for another person to come back to pick them up. It just looks like to me there's two vehicles and someone's being dropped off, waited for, and picked up.
Well, I'm still waiting on them to prove a car was involved because if I was going to commit a crime in either one of these towns, I wouldn't drive.
Right. Yeah, I
There's
agree
people
with you.
walking
I agree
around
with you on
basically
that.
like 24 hours a day. It wouldn't even seem abnormal. You're going to stick
Yeah.
out more in a
And
car than
you
walking.
got Rosie wanting to know why these kids are just walking around too, stealing signs from the Sunset Mart. Not even like 30 minutes before all this. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like all of this is occurring literally 30 minutes before Rosie is stopping these kids to ask them why they just stole that sign from up at the Sunset Mart.
It don't make sense.
All right, well, I appreciate you hopping up. I just wanted to see like what you thought about this. And so does this look right to you though? That at three, so in 1 minute, is it possible, do you think, to make it from 1311 South Main Street at the Sunset Mart and in 1 minute be caught not only at 1320 Linda Lane, but also 1125 Ridge?
Well, they're probably making an assumption on that, right? Because the car on the PCA goes across Highway 95, and
Mm-hmm.
then you see it on Ridge Road, according to this, right? And then it would
Mm-hmm.
go, it doesn't go the way the other map goes, it would go straight and then around, and you'd see a car pass by on Linda Lane, but you wouldn't be able to ID it. You would just see headlights going by.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
But I mean, that's the thing is they haven't proven it's the same
Okay.
car.
Right. Right. Well, that's what I mean.
And they only have one
Can I use
clear
my mouse?
shot of it. I want to know if that
That's what I'm
329
trying to
on
figure
Ridge
out.
Road is a clear picture, because I bet it's not even clear there.
Right. And I'm looking at it too, like if you're looking even at the map, it makes no sense that you would go up 95 when you're right there at the corner of South Main Street. You could literally just cut right down Louder and end up on Taylor. What is the point in going down Louder all the way up Ridge Road and then following it all the way back through there till you come
Right.
around? To me, this literally looks like what's happening here is someone is being dropped off from behind the house. There's 2 cars, someone's getting dropped off from behind the house, and they're making loops back there waiting for someone to come out.
Yeah, it could be.
That's just my opinion.
There's so many other places that you could go in that area and not go to 1122 King Road.
Mhm. Mhm.
I
Hmm.
think it'll be interesting to
Well,
hear what the roommates say on what they heard, because they clearly heard stuff. It's not just that Dylan saw somebody.
right. Absolutely. They definitely heard for sure. All right, well, here, look at this then. Anyway, since you're on here with me, and if you don't have to, I mean, if you got to go, you can go. You don't have to stay on. Um, so, when looking at this here, right? So, approximately 3 miles from the crime scene. So, they're saying 1125 Ridge Road, vehicle pops up at 4:01, and by 3 minutes later, it's at the crime scene. This is within 10 minutes of Dylan entering a new contact into her phone, claiming she's asleep.
Right.
She's entering a new contact, and they are seeing these vehicles all of a sudden start doing loop-de-loops all behind Walenta and shit,
This chick on
and up
Facebook
on
yesterday
Ridge.
said, "Well, it takes me 30 to 40 minutes to fall asleep." And I was like, "Are you Dylan Mortensen?" No, but it takes me 30 or 40 minutes to fall asleep. And I was like, "Okay, but are you Dylan Mortensen?" Like, I drive to Moscow and I don't stab anybody. Does that mean Brian didn't do it? Like, are we really going to play these
Mm,
stupid logic games?
right. It's just very interesting to me when you look at the time frame and then you compare this time frame that they're talking about here with this vehicle to the text messages. When you go and look at the now that we have the disclosed text messages, right?
Yeah.
2:10 a.m., 2:13 a.m., 2:53 a.m. We have a period of time between 2:53 and 3:51 where there's nothing for Dylan and Bethany. And
Yep.
then 3:51 to 4:19. So from the moment she adds the new contact in her phone, there's nothing else for another 30 minutes. And this is right around the time of all the movements of these vehicles back there.
Yep. And supposedly when the crime happened.
Mhm. Right.
I
It's
want
all
to know why they
occurring.
ever said the crime was from 3 to 4. Because they had their phone and what Dylan said on the 911 call, like the first day. Like, they knew
Mhm.
what was said the first day.
Right. Right.
And the car's leaving at 4:20. They have it on camera, which means that if the person that did it was in that car, he would have left the house before 4:20. They're saying the crime ended at 4:25 and then change it to 4:30.
Mhm.
How's that make sense?
Right. Yeah, and I notice on here they don't have on this map the car leaving. This is only going this little map here on the screen, this is only going until 4:07 a.m. And then this one down here is only for 3 minutes, 4:01 to 4:04.
Yeah.
And so are they claiming that the cameras caught all of this, but then for the 13 minutes it took to do the crime, they have no footage of anything? It just happens to be the 13 minutes it took to do the crime. That's the only footage they don't have.
Something like that. Maybe no cars came in at that time, but I don't know.
Bullshit. It's very interesting when you look at it, right? The police claim it took 13 minutes. They even did their own test. So they had someone who's trained go in and show that a singular person. Isn't it interesting? They use a trained officer
I would believe
to run
that
the test to
somebody
show one
could do
person could
it,
do it.
but get out with no blood on you.
Hmm.
They always forget that part.
This is really interesting, actually. It just so happens to be the 13 minutes. Hmm. Yeah, 19 minutes, including the walk. I know. Yeah, I know, KP, but I don't go by all that 4chan shit, man. I just don't. I can't do it. It's too many rabbit holes for me, friend. Um, that is interesting, though. Yeah, they did their own test, Mish Girl. Right. So isn't that interesting, though, Twiz? Don't you think it's kind of funny that they used a trained officer to show that one person could do this in 13 minutes?
Yeah, did they have dummies where they had to stab him like 400 times altogether?
But that's what
Like
I mean.
how real was this test?
Were there people fighting back? Did they have, in order to run the test, did you have people fighting you back? Because we know that a couple of these people had defensive wounds, allegedly. So, I mean, I don't know how you ran a test. I don't know how you did test runs for killing 4 people in 13 minutes or less inside that. To me, that's demented. It's a demented test, but it's funny that they use their own officers to prove it.
Well, how else would they?
It's just, I mean, considering all of the, conspiracy theories and speculation around this case, if I'm the state, the last people that I want to use to try and do this test for me are my officers who are under so much goddamn scrutiny. I don't want to come out and prove, yeah, see, my cops could have done this in 13 minutes or less. It's not a good look.
That makes sense.
Especially with all the body cam footage we have of them showing
I
up
just
even
want to
when
know
no
why
one
they're
called
basing the
them.
timeline off of Dylan when Dylan has lied.
Yeah.
And they know Dylan has lied.
Agreed. Agreed. It's very interesting. Now that I just looked at this again, so it stops at 4:07 a.m. So they really are trying to claim that he teleported in, teleported out, and did it in 13 minutes. And that 13 minutes just so happens to be, oh, oopsie, no activity from the roommates either. Whoops.
I want to know why they think the crime started when it started, according to them. Is it just the car pulling into the neighborhood?
Yeah, 4:04. Right. That's what I mean. I don't know why they're starting it at that time. Obviously, they're starting it at that time because they're looking at their text messages, seeing that all of a sudden, right? At 4:19, Bethany is calling Dylan. And then Dylan calls Xana. So 4:19:07, Bethany calls Dylan. The problem is, I don't have it open. Let me show it. Actually, we can just, that way people can see what I'm talking about. Because when you really look at this here, this is like such a tight window where both of these people are literally wide awake. And it's weird. Based on the timeline of everything we just looked at with their little maps, keep all that in mind, right? I think I may have even wrote that up in here somewhere. Maybe I didn't. Fuck it. We'll move down here. All right. So, keeping in mind the timeline that they're giving for the vehicle, starting at approximately what, 3:33 a.m. I think was the first one. So That's 18 minutes before she puts a new contact in her phone. And then we have almost 30 minutes here of no activity between Dylan or Kaylee. I mean, Dylan or Bethany. This is in between the time that this vehicle, this little time space right here, 3:51 to 4:19. That's the same little time space that they're seeing these cars back there, all up and down Molenta and shit. You know what I mean? It's really interesting when you look at it.
Yep. It's crazy.
3:51 to technically 4:04 before the vehicle pulls in.
I want to know why the timeline was
What's
originally
that?
3 to 4. If it wasn't because the roommates
Well,
heard
the
something.
original timeline I thought was 2 to 3.
No, because they knew.
Could have sworn in the very, very beginning, they said that they believed the crime happened between 2 and 3 in the morning, and then they pushed it out 3 to 4, and then in the PCA came out, it was 4 to, 4:25.
Yeah. And then 4:30 when the car left 10 minutes
Right,
beforehand.
right. Well, I do know that when you look at the movements of this vehicle, 2 vehicles, it would appear there are 2 vehicles, and they've known from the beginning they were looking at 2 vehicles, is what it seems like to me.
The story doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. And then what's even weirder is that this 420, so you have 420, 420 and 20 seconds, 420 and 28 seconds. Boom, boom, boom. Dylan calls Xana, Dylan calls Kaylee, Dylan calls Bethany and speaks for 41 seconds. And then Bethany hangs up and calls Xana. So it's going to be interesting to find out what Dylan is telling Bethany in this 41 seconds of their phone call.
Yeah, but can we trust what they say?
No, not at all. But when you really look at this tight little window of time here, 2:10 a.m., it's interesting. They're saying that the suspect vehicle one, I think, is starting at 3:33 a.m., 3:30 in the morning. They start seeing this thing moving about the town. And she's up. She's up at 2:13 texting Gower. Maddie's awake at calling Bethany. And then we get nothing until 3:51. So, maybe all the vehicle movements, like, could it be like the crime's already done and people are leaving? People are cleaning up, people are moving things around.
It could be.
Know what I'm saying? To me, it seems more like that's what's going on here. That's just my opinion, though. You know what I mean? I don't know shit. This is just my opinion based on what I'm looking at here. It looks like the missing activity. It looks like this crime occurred between like 2:54 and 3:50 in the morning, and all of the activity afterwards is the crime's already over. It's not while the crime is occurring. The crime is already over.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely possible. What did Bethany hear? That's what
Yeah.
I want to know.
What? Yeah, she heard something that made her call Dylan at 4:19. Now, whether that's she's calling Dylan because I don't know, because shit has gone south. I'm not sure. But it really, looking at this time stuff and then what they're talking about with the vehicles starting to be spotted at 3:33 in the morning. This sounds to me like the vehicle is being spotted because these vehicles are coming in now to help. Looks like we have people being brought in to get dropped off or picked up or something. It feels like I feel like
Or
what
they're
we're looking
grabbing
at here
something
is
and
the
leaving
crime
and coming
happened much
back.
earlier. What'd you say?
Maybe they're leaving or coming in, grabbing something and leaving and coming back to grab more.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It almost looks like it's a lot of frantic movements with two vehicles back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And they seem to be hanging out near this ridge road a lot. So there's got to be somebody over there that lives there. I mean, I'm just saying, it's very strange
Yeah.
that when you look at the whole Cole Barenberg and this guy's name coming out of left field, it's very interesting why law enforcement would be under the impression that any of the DNA on these victims is going to belong to Cole. I don't know why that is.
Who knows?
They obviously got information from someone, somehow, some way, that you're likely going to find this person's DNA on victims. Why is that?
I don't know. We don't know the tips. We don't know inside information for the other perps.
But
But
according
defense
to the
seems to
state,
claim
the
that they
tips,
know.
according to the state, all the tips they got were unsubstantiated. The only ones that worked out were
That's
Coburn.
because they only went after Koberger.
Right, but clearly they're lying about that, or they don't want people, maybe they just don't want people knowing they were looking at other people, but clearly the state had other people of
They've been
interest, which
lying
is
the
why they're
whole
testing their
time.
DNA.
And by substantiated, they just mean they didn't get an arrest out of it. And they're hoping they're going to get a conviction.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, if you don't think this person's involved, then you would have no reason to test their DNA.
Right.
And out of everybody's DNA, it's strange. No likelihood ratio was created for Dylan.
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
I'm not going to be surprised when a girl did it, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I don't know shit, but it is starting to look like maybe that's what the defense is getting at here.
All they
It
want to
kind
do
of
is
almost
point
looks like
fingers
they're
at
getting
men.
at your alternate perpetrator is going to be maybe one of these survivors or both and people they know. No?
I don't know why the DoorDash stuff isn't brought in. I'm asking the same question.
My guess is because the DoorDash has nothing to do with it.
Well, they should still have like the time from when it came out or something, if it was even ordered.
I always wondered if the DoorDash driver, I know a lot of people, they do it for insurance purposes, but they also do it because they do gig work and they get a nice reduced rate on their insurance if they have a dash cam going while they work. And I always wondered if the DoorDash driver had a dash cam running while they were out working and if they turned that over.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because they said the DoorDash told them, like, came
Mm,
out of nowhere and said that he delivered to that house that night. So who knows?
hmm.
There's so much about this that we
Yeah,
just don't know.
yeah. Well, it is interesting when you look at the timeline, though. Now that we know they're all awake, no one's sleeping, and we have this like approximate 30-minute gap. And that 30-minute to be, well, when suspect vehicles are starting to roll in.
Yeah.
And it's from about 3 in the morning until approximately 4. You could say approximately 3 to 4. We have this missing time here, this missing window. And that missing window, if you go by the state's timeline of videos, the missing window we have here in the text, well, the videos seem to show a couple of vehicles coming onto scene and starting to make the rounds.
Yeah. I mean, we could look at the Linda Lane picture video. There's cars coming and going all the time.
Mm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy. But it's a quiet night. There's nothing else going on. There's just one car that came in to murder.
Right. But now the defense is saying there is no audio. None. They're saying there's no audio of this crime. And yet you have the state and Hitler claiming they have audio and video, like a video that has audio of whimpers, loud thuds. Um, Hitler saying he can hear a struggle. I don't know what the fuck these people are talking about because the defense is saying there is no audio.
Yeah, it's just a shit show. I don't know.
Okay, so what do you make of that, Twiz? How can
Uh,
people say that they have audio hearing whimpers and loud thuds and Hitler saying he hears a struggle when the defense is saying there is no audio?
I don't know.
How can
How
the
how
two be
can
so
you
different?
how can you say that the audio from another house is picking up anything from in that house? Do you know how loud it would be to hear something from inside of another house
Right. The whimpering and the loud thud could be coming from inside the house the camera's on.
or across the street that just doesn't
Mm,
have a house blocking the sound? Like
right,
it could be
right.
anything. Could be a door shutting. Like who knows?
And now when you did the just out of curiosity, when you're talking about like the whole his phone going off, right? They're talking about the you're saying he was on a phone call, you think, for approximately 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was talking to Willie about it the other day, and the time difference, it would be about like 11 p.m. for his mom at that time, right? Would have been about like
No, it'd be like
11:30
5
at night,
a.m. It'd be 5
huh?
a.m.
They're 3 hours. Oh, I thought they were 3 hours behind.
No, they're ahead. I think at like 4:50 he might have been talking to his mom.
I'm curious as to who the fuck he's on the phone with at 2:50 in the morning.
Aren't we
And
all?
the only thing I could think of is maybe he was talking to like his dad or something or his mom
I
early
mean,
on a
it's
Sunday
possible, but
morning.
they'd have to be up quite early.
Right. Well, yeah, no, I mean, they would be up early. They're church going and stuff. They'd probably be getting up at 5 in the morning on a Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I think it'll be interesting if they come up on the stand to talk about that phone call, whoever it was to.
Mm. Could have been his little Asian girl there.
He seems to talk on the phone a lot, from
Mm-hmm.
what I'm gathering. Um, so I don't know.
Eat, eat a bag of D's. Who was talking to their mom? I'm just throwing it out there, honey, that like at some they're saying that this 7 minutes. Remember when Anne said like don't let what did she say? 7 minutes. Don't let you think it's not important because it is,
Yeah.
right? Apparently this 7 minutes that they messed up on of missing phone data for Brian. The phone data was it they did something with those handoffs. And Twiz is under the impression here that 7 minutes, Brian's on a phone call before his call for, hits the park or whatever. And his phone stops utilizing service.
Yep.
So Twiz is under the impression Brian's on the phone. And if he's right, that's going to be interesting to find out who he's on the phone with. And it just happens to fall, and don't anybody come for me, but it's very interesting just for me because I don't believe in coincidences that he is on the phone right around the same time all of these last calls are going out from a couple of these people. There's lots of phone activity for these people at that time. 2:53 in the morning, Maddie is calling Bethany, right? The
Yeah, that's a
seven
weird
minute
one too.
difference, the 7 minute difference for Brian puts him at what, 2:54, not 2:47?
Yeah.
Hmm, interesting. I'll pass out if we find out he's with Bethany.
Nah,
I know,
not
I'm
gonna
just saying.
happen.
According to Anne, Bethany and Dylan were both in this house and never left. I know there's a lot of people under the impression that these two girls weren't even in the house, but according to the defense, they both were and they never left.
Watch them get that Celebrite report because it'll tell you what Wi-Fi they're connecting to.
Right. Right. Beckles, what are we talking about? A phone call? Yeah, Twiz and I were just talking about how this 7-minute difference of Brian's phone, whatever they did with that 7 minutes of data. Twiz thinks he was having a phone call.
You
I
know,
I was I
Anne
was under
worded
the impression
something.
though that like the don't ask me why. I thought if it was 2:30 in the morning there, it would have been like 11:30 for his mom. So I
You're just
figured maybe
mixing it
he
up.
just
You're getting it backwards.
yeah, yeah. So it would have been like 5:30 in the morning there. I mean, he still technically could have been calling his mom or dad, huh?
Could be. Could be calling anybody. Who knows?
It is interesting though that the time he's making these calls just so happens to be it literally just so happens to be when all of these people's phone activity is also questionable, huh? So it's like they all have questionable phone activity, and I don't know why.
I mean, I don't know if Brian's is questionable.
I just look at everything as like non coincidental, you know? And I've been saying it for a while that like it seems so weird to me that his phone is doing all this stuff at the same time that Kaylee's like blasting Jack. Maddie's allegedly blasting Jack. Dylan and Bethany are going fucking ham on theirs. And then all of a sudden, everybody's radio silent. You got 30, 40 minutes of missing stuff. It's just strange. And that 30, 40 minutes of radio silence is when all the cars pop into play and start roaming around the neighborhood and fucking headlights here and headlights there and U turns here. It's very strange.
Who knows? I don't.
You don't? You know nothing? Same.
I mean,
Same
it's just
Twiz.
like they're 10 miles apart, living different lives. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that happens at the same time every day for people that live 10 miles apart that has nothing to do with each other.
I agree. I agree. Isn't it just interesting though? You don't think it's even just the slightest bit coincidence that this like literal fucking 9-minute window of time on people's phones just happens to be the
Nope.
same? Know what I mean? I don't know. I do. I don't like coincidences. I don't believe in them. Could it be a coincidence? Yes.
I don't know. It's just people living their lives, you know? Things happen at the same time all the time that aren't connected.
True. I
Now, in the
agree. I would
house,
agree.
their phone call situation, like, that is interesting how that played out. But what does Brian have to do with it? I don't
Mm,
think anything.
right. I agree with you. I tend to agree with you. I don't think he has anything to do with it, to be honest with you. I think because you got Payne over here talking about how he consulted with members of cast and he shouldn't be determining shit when it comes to cast. Number one, he shouldn't even be playing around with cast or nothing. He's not trained in it. He has no certification in it. I don't understand why he's determining anything for cast. Um,
Yeah, it's just from what Balance told him, I guess, is their explanation. But that doesn't make sense because then Balance is the one that's determining it, and you're just regurgitating what Balance said.
Right, but the fact of the matter is that Mowry had to go re-up on his cast training for the grand jury shit because he hadn't done it in years. Because you aren't supposed to be doing cast work if you're not trained, and you need your certification.
Well, you need 500 hours, and he definitely didn't have that. So why did
Right,
he testify at the grand jury at all? I
right.
don't know.
Neither one of them should have been fucking with the cast data. Is the point that I'm getting at? And then you have Mowry admitting not only did he just basically take what he was given. He didn't even put it into the proper version of Cast. He used an outdated version with data interpreted by Payne, who doesn't know how to interpret the data. So I'm of the opinion, like you, that they just fucked up. They absolutely fucked up because whatever they did with this phone data screwed them over. But I'm not so sure about that either, considering, the trace DNA on the sheath, and we know he purchased a knife, a sheath, whatever.
Yeah.
Know what I mean? Like if all they had was like this, oh, well, because his phone went off or whatever, and nothing else, I mean, you got nothing. But they're claiming they have his DNA as well.
Yeah.
So even if they fucked up the data, I guess the point I'm getting at, even if they've messed up with the phone data, and Cy can disprove all of it and show he was never in, his phone never went to Moscow.
That
His
night.
phone didn't travel there. But if there's a period of time where his phone is just doesn't appear to be doing anything, moving
Well,
or
here's the
otherwise,
thing. The call detail report shows calls and texts.
gotcha.
So if it's on after 254, Psy can definitely track it if there's data being sent out from
Right.
the phone or to the phone. Background apps updating, things like that, GPS perhaps. There's plenty of ways that Psy could track that phone.
Mm.
Not to mention the Celebrate report, which the defense listed in their motion for a Franks hearing. Why would
Mm-hmm.
they do that if it's inculpatory,
Right. I was just
I
looking
think the
at it
reason
in the sense
why,
that if you're Cy Ray, even with what you do and how good you are, if the phone itself is just left stationary, but the person isn't, how would you ever prove the person's movements if they just left the phone stationary?
you really couldn't unless you had witnesses or video, something like that.
Right. Hmm.
The more telling thing to me is that, a day or two after Brian was arrested, he was telling his attorney that he assumed that they had his GPS data. So
Right.
probably not going to place him in Moscow.
Well, that's what I mean. And I know that, this is something that me and you have been bringing up for a very, very, very long time. It's basically all you've ever talked about for a couple of years now. Those damn timing advance reports, Fact of the matter is, the state already had turned over in their discovery timing advance reports from November through December of 2022 for 2 victims, a different suspect, and 3,800 other people.
And some of them were AT&T.
Right.
Let's not
And
forget
some of
that
them were
part.
AT&T.
That might be
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. And they're trying to, well, sorry, AT&T wouldn't provide us with those records then.
Have you read the part where they turned over 3 different timing advance reports that were wrong?
Yes. They turned over, 3 that weren't even Coburgers. They had 3 phones of interest. 3 phones of interest. None of them were Coburgers, which is interesting. And then they're claiming AT&T wouldn't provide them this data in November through December of 2022, which is really interesting considering fucking Payne already said they provided him with the data on his first warrant, which is what he used to get the second. So if AT&T didn't provide you with anything on your first warrant, what the fuck did you rely on for the second? And how is the state going to claim, no, we didn't have it? They wouldn't give us that stuff in November and December. What do you mean they wouldn't give it to you? Payne and Mowry said they already had it and they presented it to Megan Marshall.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
I could be wrong
it's a
about that, but did
mystery.
they not present the contents of the return for AT&T Warrant 1 to Megan Marshall to get Warrant 2 with the pad and trap and trace?
It just doesn't make sense.
Well, if I'm wrong, that's fine. Tell me I'm wrong. But did they or did they not? Didn't
I
Payne,
don't know.
didn't they, in their first AT&T warrant, when they went back to get the second, including the pen trap and trace, they went with the return from AT&T, correct?
I guess. I don't know.
Uh, if you have, Payne testified he relied on the contents of warrant 1 returned to get warrant 2.
Well, yeah, but all they had
Okay.
was the call detail records. I don't
No,
think
it
Payne
even
knew that, but
no, because even no, because they're
listen, that's
asked.
all they got. That's all they got.
It says timing advance
No, they
reports. It's
asked
in
for it. They didn't get it. They asked
Gotcha.
for it. They did not get it.
Gotcha. Okay. So then how did they get the timing advance reports for the other AT&T people November and December?
I don't know.
Because they got them. That's why. Because they're lying about Brian's.
I don't think they are.
I think they got it from the FBI, and the FBI got it for them through their little portal that they have there because they have such a close relationship with AT&T. It was the FBI who got it.
I
That's
mean,
exactly what the
it
defense is
could be.
claiming here.
I don't know if that's what they're claiming, but you might be right. I don't know.
Well, they're basically claiming that even though the state, that law enforcement couldn't have gotten that information, the FBI could have and did, which is how Payne
But
and
did
the
they get it
state.
for Brian or was it the other people? And I also think that when they got it for the other people, they didn't get it through the GLDSC or whatever
Yeah, they didn't
it
get it
says.
through the Global Legal Demand Center. They got it through the feds, the Fed portal, however the feds get it. So, what I'm saying about this is that it's going to be interesting to see how the state's going to argue AT&T wouldn't produce those records to them when you already have Payne and Mowry saying, "Well, yeah, AT&T produced it to us and we relied on it to get the second."
Yeah, I don't think Payne knows what he's talking about.
It's just interesting. They can get so where I was going with the timing advance report thing, right, is that it looks like the defense has the originals. They have the original timing advance report.
Which they haven't even
And
said yet.
I mean, I'm almost positive they have it.
Well, I am too, but they just haven't said it.
Yeah, they don't need to say it. We know. They have it. And they are saying that in full, in full, in full, it's all exculpatory to Brian because the correct timing advance report with the correct call data and call detail records, whatever they did with this data and their cast, okay, and their stupid not upgrading to the proper version of cast and whatever they did with the data. I don't know what they did, but Slavinsky caught it. And I don't know if you read Judge Hippler's little decision there where he mentions Tom Slavinsky's affidavit. But Slavinsky is like, okay, we have I have grave concern about what was done here with this phone data.
Yeah. I could tell you what they did.
I mean, yeah, go for it. Tell me.
All they have from his call detail records are like the azimuths, which is just
Mm-hmm.
the angle that the signal is sent out from the phone. So
Okay.
typically when you're going from this, like you have to know where the phone is, and then you look at the map and where the azimuths cross, you can kind of plot out a line, right? But you have to know
Okay.
where the phone is. They assumed that the phone was at 1122 King Road. They made the map based on the azimuths coming out. If you look at the tower from Lewiston and the way out of Lewiston, the azimuths line up with Payne's map that night.
Okay. So what you're saying is had they not made
This is why
their
they need the
map
timing advance
assuming his
reports.
phone was at King Road?
Right.
Mm.
The interesting thing is, right, we know Brian is on the 525 or at 525 on the Johnson Road camera. If you follow the azimuth backwards, you could place him in Lewiston.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They did it off the assumption that Brian was at 1122 King Road without proof.
Gotcha. Right. And now, that's going to be, oh, it's going to be real interesting. So, okay. So I guess here's my thing, right? If the defense, the state obviously knows. Well, then again, maybe they don't, because these idiots did a whole discovery dump without organizing it. But it's just really interesting to me that the state is like, for instance, for example, if the defense can't find something they're looking for in the discovery, the state will say things like, hey, best we can tell you is go look at lab report 3.
Right.
And when the defense goes and looks at lab report 3, well, it's DNA data of an alternate suspect. What? Why the fuck would the state ever even do something like that?
If their
Number one.
case was so clear, why the games?
Right. You know? You have other instances here where the state is disclosing lab analyst Eric Seat. Eric Seat is going to be called to testify about the YSTR testing he did on a mixed sample from the crime scene. And Anne's saying, well, wait a minute. Nowhere in your discovery does it show that type of testing was even done, other than this guy's fucking lab report. So if you want to have him come testify, great. But he can only testify to this lab report and whatever information he has related to this alternate perpetrator. We have multiple instances here where the state has pointed the defense to alternate perpetrator evidence and then doesn't want the defense to be able to show or prove the alternate perpetrator evidence, even though the state pointed them to it.
I won't be surprised if they fabricated the DNA match like they did in Colorado hundreds of times. But that means they would have had to have Brian's name beforehand.
Yeah, I know. When I saw that Colorado thing, I was like, oh my God, here we go. I mean,
It's
doesn't it
all a
seem
shit
strange
show.
to you, though, that the state would be pointing the defense in the direction of all the alternate perpetrator evidence?
I mean, is that incompetence or intentional?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking. What do you think?
I don't know.
Considering how long they've been doing this.
Somebody was telling me yesterday, I don't remember exactly what they were saying, but that Miss Beatty, the AG for Idaho, who was on the case, but now she's off the case, gave Anne some evidence of the state's fuckery.
Really?
That would be interesting.
That would be interesting. Good.
Because
Maybe
she was
she's
the
one of the
only
good guys
one.
who saw something and said, fuck this.
Yeah, she was the only one that I really was like, damn, she might give the defense a run for their money.
Right.
Nye's all right, but Thompson and Hushley, whew,
Yeah.
Anne would tear them apart.
I didn't even realize Beatty was off. When did she go off?
I don't know. She was at the change of venue hearing, and I haven't seen her since. And I saw something the other day saying she was asking to get off.
Are there any of these filings that have her attached still? Let's see who they're sending these things out
I
to.
don't remember where I saw that. It was like a week or two ago that it was something about
Oh, you're
Beatty was
right.
trying to get off the team.
Huh. Well, the
And
only
she
one I
actually did a
see
really good
here,
job at change of venue.
yeah. On this one, I'm only seeing, so Ann Taylor is sending this to Latah County Prosecuting Attorney and Jeff Nye. That's it. But Jeff Nye just represents the Attorney General's office, right? Would they list her? Would they list her individually with him?
I don't know.
Now that you said that, now I just want to quickly go scroll through some of these documents and see if she's listed on any of them. I didn't even notice that. Oh,
Yeah.
that's Jeff Nye. Who do we got over here? You're right. You might be on to something, Twiz.
That'd be pretty sweet because this case is fucked.
I'm not seeing her name on any of them. Now that you say that. Interesting. Didn't know that. I didn't even realize that she hadn't been around. So you think so somebody was saying that Beatty left the prosecution team or she left the attorney general's office entirely or
I
just
don't
this
know.
case.
I think it's just this case. I don't know.
Gotcha. Okay. I was like, damn. Imagine if she just picked up and left entirely. Like, I'm out. I don't want to
Yeah,
work for
it
them.
wouldn't be the first time in this case. Seems like a lot of people are retiring after. Kind of weird.
Hmm. Huh. I wonder if, oh, that's really interesting that you brought that up. I wonder, is there like another case she was handling maybe she had to be conflicted out for? Oh,
I
wait,
doubt it.
Backwoods is saying something conflict of interest because she was also handling what?
If there was a conflict, why would she have ever been put on the case?
In the first place, right? Would the conflict come in later? Maybe a case
It's
I don't
possible,
know.
but
I don't know, but hmm. So, anyways, all right. Well, um, oh, that's right. Let me hang on because I think it was somewhere in here, right? That was the other thing I wanted to look at. So, this 11 in the morning stuff, right? 10:31 a.m. He's taking a selfie,
yeah.
right? So 10:30. Well, Dylan is messages incoming and outgoing on Snapchat. But then look at here, right? Isn't it weird? Look at this jump. Do you see what's happening here? So 10:31:18 to 10:45:43. Dylan Mortensen messages incoming and outgoing Snapchat. Then it goes to 11:21:53. JM text BF. Then it goes back to 10:56 to 11:29. Dylan is on Instagram messages and Snapchat. So it's like they're saying that in between the message, she's on Snapchat for this 15 minutes, right? It's what it looks like. But then they're saying here she hops back on at 10:56. She hops
Yep.
back on at 10:56 and she's on till 11:30. And in between that, Jenna, whatever, everybody else already said her name. Jenna is texting Bethany. So it looks like Dylan here is frantically Snapchatting, right?
What I
She's
want to know is what the
Instagramming and
cop was doing
Snapchatting.
before he showed up.
Who?
The cop.
Yeah.
Because
He's
people
got
knew
that.
about this crime long before 911 was called, and he arrived at that house pretty damn fast when the 911 call was put in.
Yeah, I was under the assumption that I've said this for a very long time and I caught a lot of shit for it because in the very beginning when we first saw Banfield body cam and all of that stuff and I was just like I don't like it. It gave me the ick and it is what it is. I've said for a very long time that I think that the 911 call, the reason that we had the delay is because these girls were waiting specifically for a very particular person to be on duty when the call comes in. And that person made sure they were parked very, very close by so that when the call comes in, they can be first to arrive. That's purely my opinion. I'm entitled to it. And if people call me a crazy bitch for it, that's fine.
Ooh, I love being called crazy right now.
You know what I mean? I'm under the impression that this is the whole reason they had to wait to call. They needed someone specific to be on duty and close by. And that's just my opinion.
Could be. I want that. dash cam like an hour, the full hour beforehand. What's the
Yes.
radio chatter? Get their phones. What do their phones
Yep.
say? Something.
Fuck the hour before. I want his dash cam for his entire shift.
Well, that too. But I'm just saying, like the
Just give
hour
me it for
beforehand
the
would be
whole
pretty
shift.
interesting.
I want it for the whole shift.
You want to hear something
He
crazy?
was there for the noontime call, you know, depending what time he clocked in that day. Well, technically, we don't even know. Allegedly,
Shift chains are
there's
usually at
three
like
who
six.
arrived. Yeah. So, there's usually, I think if I remember correctly, wasn't it said three arrived? It was like Smith, Noons, and one other.
Well, I don't know.
I feel like there's a female who can be heard in the background on the 911 call. Sounds like a female officer, but I'm not sure if that's an officer or a different person.
I didn't hear
Like,
anything,
I don't
but
want to say, well, bat sheets, like I always thought law enforcement was involved. I mean, I don't know if they're involved, right? I don't want to necessarily go full and say I think a cop did this or something, but I do think that lots of people, including police in the town, likely knew very, very early in the day based on maybe their kids' own Snapchats, their own, right? Whatever whisperings are going on around the town. People are gossiping. People are sending messages. They're texting each other. They're calling each other. Word is spreading fast.
yeah. Hopefully they got all the Snapchats.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, friend.
All I know, Brian was in Lewiston, not in Moscow.
Yeah. Well, you have a good point though. Now, I'm going to look into something. I'm going to do a FOIA. I'm going to see what I can get.
Because, I mean, theoretically, they wouldn't give us anything involved with the case, right? But that hour beforehand from the cop or whatever, like the whole shift until that point, shouldn't have anything to do with the case. So they shouldn't have a reason not to give us that stuff.
Hmm. Right. I'm going to see what I can do. I'm going to see if I can maybe get that. If I can get it like up to maybe even 11:30 a.m. I can be real specific about what I'm asking for and like the specific time frame for the whole shift leading up to 20 minutes before. I could do it for like 15 minutes
No,
before the 911
no,
call comes in or something.
you need it like right up until that 911 call.
They're not going to give us that.
But they don't have a reason to. That's my whole point. If they know nothing until that 911 call comes in, we should be able to get that. That has nothing to do with the case.
I agree with you, but they're likely going to, it'll be under the purview, same as his body cam. The dash cam will go with the body cam and they'll put them under the same purview that they're case related.
Well,
Even
again,
if
they can say
even
what
if
they
a
want,
dash
but they
cam
don't have
isn't
a
going to be
reason
used.
to. And that would be very
But,
telling, in my opinion, if they did.
yeah, and don't forget they record over those fucking things, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's long gone by now.
It might be.
Yeah. They
And
usually
might have
just clear
gotten
them
it
out.
before.
Wait, wasn't though, I thought somebody was saying too back in the day, isn't that allegedly what, like, Brian was supposedly doing? Moonvale, hi, honey.
What, looking
Wasn't
at
there
their
some rumor going around
body
that
cams?
going through well, I thought that was, like, one of the
That's one of
things
the crazy things people have said, which it might be true. Who knows? But people have
I thought I
claimed.
heard it as more it was part of the, like, requirements for the TA position or something.
People have said
Um,
a lot of things. I don't know.
True, I don't know, I was just asking, wouldn't it be interesting though, huh? If so No, because it would all be through Moscow. I don't know. It actually would be interesting to find out who does go through all their body cams for them, log everything, and then delete
They have people that do that work for MPD or whatever agency they send that stuff to.
internally at the police department, or they send
Yeah.
it somewhere.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they send it somewhere, but it would be one or the other.
Huh. Interesting. I mean, I'll see what I can do. If I can get the dash cam at the very least, I will. That's a good idea now that I think of it. Now that you said it. I want
We
to
should
kind
be able
of
to
see
get
if we
his
could
phone
possibly get it.
records, radio chatter,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Text messages.
all that stuff is FOIA-able.
Right. Right. Yeah, because there's technically it sounded like a female officer too that arrived with one of the males, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Um, but I swear I can hear a female officer in the background when she's asking about the defibrillator. It's almost um, like two were riding together in the same vehicle. They arrived together. It sounds like there are two officers that arrived together, and one is a female.
Yeah, I don't know.
I got to know who
It's
was working.
all
That's
crazy.
why I'm asking who are the officers that they claim were there. I know there's Smith, Nunes, and there was one other, but I swear I can hear a female officer.
I thought only one officer showed up at first, but who knows?
That's what I thought too, because that's what they said. Nunes. Originally, it was said Nunes. It's his body cam that has the sheath. It's his body cam that has the dog. But then there was definitely, you can hear other officers in the background of the call. It's not one. There's definitely more than one, and one sounds female, in my opinion, but that's just me. So I don't know, man. So, I just kind of wanted to go over that whole vehicle thing. And I marked up the, identification of the vehicle and stuff because when you guys really go and take a look, if you pull up the texts, you pull up those texts along with the videos and the times of these videos and the little map that they have and all of that stuff, there is a lot going on right before these vehicles pull up, and all of a sudden you have no activity for like close to 30 minutes, and then all of a sudden the vehicles are active again.
Yeah, I mean, it's all crazy.
Maybe somebody else can do a much deeper dive into this than me, but really, this is a really tight window here.
I don't think anyone can figure it out until they get the videos and actually see what they're basing it off of. Right
Mm.
now, we're just trusting their interpretation or their word.
Mm-hmm.
Anne seems to
And,
not
and
want
I'm
to do that.
Yeah, and I'm under the impression too, one of two things is happening here with this 253, right? This 253, Maddie Mogan calls Bethany, and then we have nothing until 3:51 a.m. Either this is when the crime is actually happening, or this is what's missing is like Snapchat, Instagram messages, Snapchat messages, shit like that. It's just not text. They're still up and communicating. It's just not through text. You know what I mean? It's what it looks like to me.
Yeah. They could be doing stuff on their computers or iPads or something.
Well, I don't know about
There
computer
are
or
just
iPad.
so
I mean,
many
you're right. Yeah, it could
possibilities.
be. True. She is putting a new contact in her phone at 3:51. So I mean, she's up and on her phone. That's for sure. She's entering a
Is
new
somebody
contact
there?
at 3:51.
Like, why would
What'd you
she
say?
do that? Is somebody
Yeah.
there?
I was thinking the same thing. Are we sure it's even her entering a new contact in her phone? Lana brought up a good point the other day in a live. There's been times where she'll hand someone her phone and say, here, put your number in for me.
The state seems to want to just gloss over that part, but she's supposed to be sleeping, and she told you she was sleeping, but she's adding a
Mm-hmm.
contact to her phone. How does that work, state?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, she wasn't awoken at 4 a.m. She was already awake before 4 a.m. putting a new contact, or someone is putting a new
I
contact in her
mean, she
phone.
could have fallen back asleep, right? But that means that her falling asleep at 3:20 is irrelevant, and she was definitely woken up prior to 3:51. There's a lie in
Mm-hmm.
here somewhere. We don't know
Yeah.
where, but there is a lie.
Yeah.
No matter what, there is a lie here.
100%. I agree with you on that. And I just think it's really interesting too that, at 2:10, she's texting Eric to see if he's out driving still, you know? And I was under the impression like, that's weird. Maybe she's trying to get a ride out, right? Trying to get a ride
Yeah.
out of the house or something. Um, but then we know she didn't leave. We know she didn't leave at all. And you have this
Do we
window
know
of
that?
time. Yeah,
I
Anne
don't think we
says
know
that
that. She didn't leave.
according to Ann Taylor, Bethany and Dylan never left this house.
Well, I think she meant after the attack, so like after 419. We don't know about after 210 or whatever. She
I
could have
mean,
gone
you're right.
somewhere.
Yeah, maybe she could have got picked up and then dropped back off. I don't know. Created a new contact in her phone, though. It's very interesting that you have Eric texting her back to say, yes, I'm still out driving. And then 40 minutes later, Maddie's calling Bethany. So 40 minutes after Eric says, yes, I'm still out driving, Maddie's calling Bethany. Now, everybody, because of what Olivia has said, these girls were home by 2 o'clock in the morning, right? Allegedly, everybody is home by 2. I don't know why she'd be asking him if he's still out driving then. She knows that he just dropped them off
Well, how would
if
she
they
know
were
that?
dropped off. She's allegedly at home.
That doesn't mean that she would know who dropped them off, though.
She's texting him.
Okay. That doesn't mean that she
Of
knew it
course,
was
she
him that
knows
dropped
who
them off.
drives them. He's their private driver.
Is he the only one?
According to Steve, yes, it's the only one that they used. Yes, because he's a trusted member of the family.
Yeah, but then they're saying he's an Uber driver.
That's what the state is saying. Steve is saying that this guy has been driving these girls around for years because he's a trusted member of the family.
Yeah, you're believing what Steve says when you say that. I hope you
I'm
realize
just
that.
saying he's likely going to be called as a witness regarding the last person to see these victims alive.
He
How
probably
good of
will.
a how close of a family member is this person to you, considering he's the last person to
Well,
see your daughter and her best friend alive?
go back to the first interview, and they said it was a private driver. And then after that, they were a good family friend. Was that since the first call? Like, you don't know that.
I have no idea. I just know that according to the father of one of the victims, the private driver is a good friend of the family and someone who'd been driving the girls for years because he was a trusted
Yeah.
member.
How would he have been a
So
member of the family before that if he was just a private driver in the first interview? That's all I'm saying.
I don't
I
know,
think
darling.
Steve
I
might have
just
said
know
that
that if
after the
I'm the
fact.
defense, I'm definitely going to call Steve and I'm going to, or even if I don't call Steve, like I want to know about this private driver and I want to know exactly how long has this person, what do you mean he's been driving them around for years? Why did they even need a private driver? And
I
you're
think
telling
it
me that
was
for
set up
years this
through the
person just
fraternity
offered
and the
these
sorority.
services for free.
It was set up from the fraternity and sorority through the college. So, like, college probably paid them, but the students didn't.
That's kind of, from what I understand, it was a volunteer position. This is something he did voluntarily.
Right, but it was through the school.
Uh-huh. So so just for free, middle of the night, escorting young drunk girls around because
It doesn't have to
just the
just be
kindness of
girls,
his
though.
heart. What?
It doesn't have to just be girls, though. We don't know that.
I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb and say he probably only drives the girls around.
That's an assumption,
It is.
and I don't think it's weird.
Well, I don't think it's weird if he's just a regular Uber driver. Of course, then it's not weird. But what is weird is that this random Uber driver
He
also
wouldn't be
happens to
random,
be,
though.
huh?
He's not random if he's set up through the school and he's volunteering for this, right? It's not
Mm,
random.
I don't
I
know.
don't
I
think
don't
it's
like
weird at
it.
all. I think they
I
did
think
that
it's
in
wicked
Pullman
weird.
when I lived here before. They had things like that set up.
Mm, I don't like it. Not gonna lie. I have a daughter that age, and I gotta tell you, gives me the skeeves. Not gonna lie. Um,
Here's the problem that
if
women,
you listen, if it's just a random Uber ride, and hey, the guy's just out
you
Ubering.
actually worry more about that because how many times have we heard about chicks getting assaulted and killed from random Uber drivers? That's more worrisome to me. But here's the problem that girls always have. They always assume the dude is some sort of pervert. Maybe some dudes just go out there and help. I
Well,
walked
no,
plenty of
it's
girls
not
I
even
never
that.
met before home after the bars here. Am I
I
weird? Am
just
I
look at
creepy?
it. I look at it in the way that Steve has described how the phones, right? They could they could see everything she did on her phone. She had a private driver. It was like I I understand keeping and monitoring your kids for safety, even as adults. Maybe you share like a life 360 with your family, right? You're all just so everybody knows where everybody is. But the way that he talks about it, it's like this man describes, in my opinion, the way that they were tracking her. I mean, it's like how the NSA tracks people, for Christ's sake, domestic terrorists and shit. It just gives me the impression that, like, why are you monitoring every movement? And why does she need to have like such high
Well,
guard?
they weren't monitoring it at the time, but they might
Yeah,
look
they
back
were.
at it later. No, they. You think that they
No,
were up at 2 in the morning watching where Kaylee was at?
no, I'm talking about her phone activity and stuff. I'm talking about her where she was.
Yeah, but they weren't
Where
doing it
her
actively. They did it
I
later.
No, that's
You
not
think that
true.
they were up at 2 o'clock in the morning watching where she was on her phone?
I mean, I don't think they were up at 2 in the morning watching where she was on their phone, but if they were awake, they could see where she was and yes. If they just happen to be awake and check, yep, okay, I can see she's there. Boop, okay, I could see she's there. At any point, any time of the day, no matter what, you could check to see where she was and what
They could
what
have something like
location.
that set up.
Um, it just seemed it's just the way he describes it to me. Maybe it wasn't like that at all, but it's the way he presents the information. It
Well,
comes across as though her family knew she needed to have like 24-hour monitoring and surveillance and protection. That's the way
I
they
don't
make it
read.
sound.
I don't read much into what they say because they also said that they were the perfect little girls that always locked their doors. How would they know that? They
Mm,
say a lot of stuff that there's literally no way they could know that.
I agree. I
They might tell
agree.
them that on the phone, but that doesn't mean that's real.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's so weird to me, when you actually go back and you look at everything and now seeing what we're seeing, like the whole timeline it's obviously wrong. No one was asleep, in shock face. Um, it would appear it just looks it just gives the appearance that not only did they know, but the wait was intentional. That's just my
From
opinion,
the
though.
roommates,
Yeah,
I'm not going to argue with that. Everything about it's weird.
it just gives the appearance that way. Maybe it's not that way, and just okay because we only have this limited stuff right now. But I don't know. It's definitely giving the appearance of not only did everybody know, but everybody knew way, way earlier than the 911 call, and you had to wait to call 911 because, well, whoever was on shift for the night shift or something, nobody wanted those people showing up. It's my guess. Nobody wanted those officers coming to their house. They wanted to wait until somebody else was on shift.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't try to make logic out of this because it's not logical. None of this makes any sense.
I can agree with you on that. I think that's why it bugs everybody so much, right?
Yeah.
Because we
I
look at
think
it and we're saying, how?
the original rumor was like a frat fight happened earlier and then it came back to the house, right?
Mm,
But then all of a sudden, Brian did it.
right. Yeah, Doc
Like,
Doc here has a good point too. Can't make sense of what triggered the sudden hysteria in right. Agreed, Doc Doc. What all of a sudden at 11:56, 10 in the morning between it would appear right around 10:30, 11, 11:30 to 12 before the 911 call, like all of it. Why are you hysterical if you saw nothing? If even though you saw the masked person, you clearly weren't that scared because you just went downstairs and stayed awake from with Bethany, and the both of you just were like texting and shit
yeah, and
and
didn't
calling
call
people.
911.
Right.
But there's lots of pictures of frat dudes with masks.
Mm.
So,
It's funny too because even when now that they released all these extras, the only miss originally we were missing like 6 hours, right? It was from like 4 in the morning till like 10:32 when Dylan started texting again. But now with this, we see that, oh, well, look at that. 7:30 in the morning. Bam. Bethany's awake. She's calling dad. You know what I mean? And at
yeah.
4:34, she was in Snapchat. At
Yep.
4:31, she called Kaylee.
And
Like, look
then
at this shit. So
they're talking
Bethany
about
can't say she didn't know.
the group Snapchats.
Right. You've got
Uh,
Bethany calling everybody except Ethan. Isn't that interesting?
yeah.
When does she call Ethan?
424 DM called Ethan right there.
No, Bethany. I'm looking at Bethany right now for a second. When did Bethany call Ethan? Let's see if Bethany ever calls Ethan. Interesting. Well,
Hopefully, Anne has all those Snapchats.
she never calls Wait, there was one. 422. So 422, Bethany calls Ethan. She calls Maddie. At the same time, huh? Ethan
It
had the
doesn't
highest
make
likelihood
sense.
ratio for the fingernail clippings, correct?
I think so.
Where the fuck are you?
Outside.
Oh, I'm like, you sound like you're in a parking garage or something. Interesting. So look at this. Huh. Oh my God. Let's just look at Bethany for a second. Fuck Dylan. Look at Bethany.
They knew something happened.
Listen, look. So at 4:19, she calls Dylan. 2 minutes later, she calls Xana. 1 minute later, she's calling Ethan and Maddie. I don't even want to say it. I don't even want to say what I'm thinking, actually. I don't even want to say it.
Say it.
Bro, do you think she's calling And then at 4:23, Snapchat.
But to who? Was it one of the
What?
group Snapchats that people were sending around later in the morning? Like, we need that
I
information.
just think it's very interesting that at 4:21 in the morning, Bethany is only calling Xana, Maddie, Ethan. And then she doesn't call anybody again until 4:29 after her text exchanges with Dylan. And her first calls to Maddie again. 1 minute later, Maddie again. 2 calls back to Kaylee. And then 3 minutes later, she gets back on Snapchat.
Yep. It doesn't make
So it's
sense.
almost like Bethany is aware at 4:20 in the morning. Like, I know this sounds fucked up, but even with Dylan, look at through all of this, dude. When you look through all of this, there's one, two, two calls. These girls, Bethany and Dylan, only call Ethan once. Look, Dylan calls Ethan at 4:24. Bethany called Ethan at 4:22. And then they don't try to contact him again? Ever?
I think there might be like a text or something, but yeah.
I'm looking, bro. I don't see it. I don't see nothing for Ethan here. Nope. No. You have one call from Bethany at 4:22, one call from Dylan at 4:24, and that's it. And they never try to call Ethan again. Unless they were trying to get him on Snapchat. I don't know. I mean, there could be Snapchat, Instagram, whatever. But as far as these text messages go, phone calls, they don't try to contact Ethan again? Does that make sense?
Does any of this make sense?
I mean, no, I'm just
That's
saying,
the
look at how
point.
many times they're calling all the girls,
Well, they live there.
texting all
Maybe
the
they thought
girls.
Ethan wasn't even there.
Maybe. Oh, yeah, okay. Good point, Twiz. See? You brought your big brain today, huh?
I'm just people read too much into this shit. This shit doesn't even matter. Prove to me
No,
Brian's in the house. Let's go.
huh?
Prove to me Brian's in the house. Let's go.
I'm not trying to prove Brian
I
was in
know
the
that.
house.
I'm just
Asshole.
saying. Your people are trying to understand this. Like, we're never understanding this. Never. We will never understand this.
No, this is weird as fuck, bro. Why would they not? Well, I mean,
Why?
you're right. You're
The
right. Maybe they just thought Ethan wasn't there, but no, because Dylan and Santa were at the house by 1:45 a.m.
maybe he left. I'm just
So
saying.
they knew
We
Ethan
don't
was
know.
there because Bethany saw
At
him.
some point, okay, at some point, maybe he left.
All I know is that both of these bitches testified that Ethan and Xana were in, or not testified, but told the police, okay, it's on record or whatever with the cops that they were home by 1:45.
Right. He arrived at 1:45. That doesn't mean he was still there.
Mm.
Unless they were up standing on the stairs watching that door to make sure nobody
Well, they
left.
can see his Jeep in the driveway.
Yeah.
His Jeep was in the driveway. They
Yeah.
would know he's there. Once they got home, they saw his Jeep. They saw all the cars in the driveway.
From the sounds of it, they just parked that Jeep there all the time. And his brother used it, right?
I'm not sure. I know. Yeah, maybe you're right. They shared it or something. I don't remember. You're right. I think they shared a vehicle or something, but huh.
Without more context or information, this will never make sense. Other than they should have called the cops at 9 or 4:20 in the morning.
Yeah, agreed.
That's what should have happened.
Joey, you think Brian was in the house? Yeah, Candy Girl. Yeah, Twiz, Candy Girl says, yeah, Twiz, but we're trying to prove alternative suspects here.
You might be. I'm not.
Well, you should
Until we
be.
don't even know what happened in the house. How many
The
times were
alternative
people
suspects
stabbed?
are what's gonna, prove
No,
that it wasn't him,
no, no,
not just
no.
his phone.
Prove if he's not there, it can't be him.
They can't prove he wasn't there.
Yes, they can.
No, they
100% they
can't.
can. Yes,
They
they
can
can.
prove his
Fight me.
phone wasn't
Fight me
there.
on this. No, they're everyone is saying that him, his car, and his phone are together the entire night. Everyone.
I agree. I agree. That is the theory, right? That he would be with his phone and his vehicle. I agree with that. But, there's always the chance that no, the phone and the vehicle could be together and he's not with either.
Or maybe he wasn't there and somebody took his phone and vehicle. Like we could
Agreed.
play this game all
Agreed.
day
Yep.
long.
He
This
definitely
is a silly
no,
game
it's
and
not
it's
a game. I'm
pointless.
just being dead ass with you. I like to talk these things out. I could go back and forth with you on
The
this.
state isn't even alleging that he wasn't with his phone and car. So why
Right.
would we?
Bingo. That's the difference too. The state is not claiming he left the phone in the vehicle somewhere else and then got a ride in or whatever, and they can't change their story now.
Nope. And the
But
defense is saying he's 100% innocent and they can't prove it. So I'm just saying.
I know, and a little Miss Masseth there is dead ass when she isn't kidding. When she says they plan to proffer the evidence for the alternative suspects. This isn't a theory. This is not just the defense throwing it to the wall to see if it sticks. They have evidence. And according to, the defense team here, they plan to use the same thing that the state is doing. Basically, they said they're using the state's discovery and how the state plans to show a pattern of life for Koberger and the victims. The defense is going to do the same thing with the state's own evidence. They're going to show a pattern of life for not only the victims, but the alternate suspects and show how that pattern of life, the pattern of life of the victims and the pattern of life of the suspects, these other suspects via their devices, are going to show that these are the people interacting with these victims all the time, not him.
Yeah. I mean, you can prove how many people are in that house. Prove Brian was over there.
Yeah. And they have 67 devices.
Yeah, it's not going to be hard. I think the defense wants to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that Brian
Mm.
wasn't there and didn't do anything. Prove him innocent because that's the only way he has a chance of ever having a real life again. But they don't have to do that to show that he's innocent. They're just doing
Right.
that because they're awesome and they care about Brian.
Absolutely. That's what I mean. At this point, it has to be done. It can't be just he gets off on a technicality. It has to be full fucking acquittal. He didn't do it. You fucked up. Go after the right people.
Yeah.
You
For
know what I mean?
instance, if they can track his phone to where he heads west out of Clarkston, out of cell range, and then they can track where he comes back into cell range in Clarkston outside of or that's during the time of the crime. There's no way he could have got to the crime scene to do it. So tell me they can't prove his alibi.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
They don't have cell pings at the exact moment the crimes are going on, but they can show where he goes out of service and back in service.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Is that proving that he wasn't there?
Right. I know it's going to
It's
be
not hard.
very interesting to see though who the defense wants to present as the alternative perpetrators and what evidence they believe they have from these alternative perpetrator devices and the pattern of life of these alternate perpetrators. It's going to be very interesting to see who they think it is. I'm guessing Colbert and Berg might be one of them, but I'm not sure because they claim he is also inconclusive, just like Koberger.
What if they have to give names like they forced the defense team in
I think they
Karen
have
Reed the other
to.
day?
And I
That'd be
think in
awesome.
Idaho, it was a while back that I had read it, so I could be remembering it wrong, but I'm pretty sure in Idaho, you cannot just say some random Joe Blow stranger did it, not my client. You actually have to name who
Well,
you
in
think.
the trial, they will name them, sure, but I'm saying right now because they just made Karen Reed's defensive team name the alternative suspects. We know the
Uh-huh.
three that they're targeting.
Right.
They're not in trial yet.
Right.
So
I
I'm just
mean,
saying it'd be funny if they made them do that.
I hope they do. I mean, I know right now, basically, what they're asking the judge to do is hear the argument and let them proffer the evidence for the alternative suspect theory before he decides the motion in limine. There was a case that they cited. It has to do with when the state filed a motion in limine to keep out the alternative perpetrator evidence, and the court held the motion and listened to the defense first before it made its decision. So it sounds like that's what the defense is asking the court to do, asking Hippler to, at the very least, before he decides on the motion, to hold the motion and let them present the argument and the evidence and proffer the evidence. And Miss Masseth is saying they're going to proffer the evidence because there are many alternate suspects that can be directly connected to the case, to the crime, I mean.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. I want to know
You
what
know,
Cy Ray's going to say if he was allowed to testify in person because I bet you he's got some bombs.
I agree. I agree. I'm going to be interested to hear if he determined whose phones traveled together to the house that weekend. Did her phone actually travel there alone, or was someone else with her? How many other people's phones interacted with their phones all day that day, right? When did they separate? Where did they travel together? Did they hit Floyd's cannabis shop? Did they go to the vape store? Did they go to the Mad Greek, right? They went and got food. Like, he can track all this shit, correct?
You know what's really funny about this whole thing? Because in the PCA, it alluded to him driving straight from Pullman to Moscow on 270
Mm,
by Floyd's, but they didn't drive test it because they knew the whole time that he never went that way.
right, right. But someone's car did.
Yeah, well, I just read something the other day. It sounds like Anne is saying that that video of the car on WSU campus isn't even Brian's car. They might have his whole timeline fucked.
Yeah, that's what I think. One of the things I read too, I can't remember which document it was. I think it was Masseth who wrote it, where it says the timeline, the state's timeline, is very much at issue, and the
Yeah,
defense plans to argue it 100%. Yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know what they're talking about with the timeline. I don't know if they mean his timeline, the crime timeline, both. Um, the
Well, it had
whole.
something to do with his cell phone coverage and the cameras,
Mm-hmm.
from what I read.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hitler's response to the Franks, he says it both ways. He says traveling south in Pullman, and then one of them is south out of Pullman.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know which
Yeah, I
one to
thought I
believe on
read
that.
somewhere too, Cy Ray plans to offer, testimony that says that this vehicle that Payne and the state are claiming is Brian's vehicle traveling along the Moscow Pullman highway that morning. Brian never went the Moscow Pullman highway.
Yeah.
She's saying, yeah, they're saying that it's the wrong vehicle. He never went along the Moscow Pullman highway.
Yep.
So then what car are they tracking?
Who knows? There's lots of Elantras in this area.
Now,
If
it
it's
sounds
even an
like they're pretty
Elantra.
sure of the vehicle they're looking for, but got the wrong vehicle at the wrong time.
Yep.
Know what I mean?
Absolutely. It don't make sense.
Hmm. Well then, interesting. I know that Kane is going to be live soon, and my eyes are burning off of my face, and I'm starting to get a headache.
Well, while you're off, think about this, right? People with autism and OCD have patterns. The day
Yeah.
after, they say they tracked Brian to Lewiston driving south from Pullman on Highway 195. Uh, that night, during those 7 minutes that they tracked, he was heading south in either in Pullman or out of Pullman. That would be the same route he would take to Lewiston the day after.
Okay.
Coincidence? I don't know.
I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you on the patterns. Trust me, I have one. I have one who is diagnosed. I read Brian's, medical stuff, and it was like reading. I was like, oh wow. Oh, okay. So part of me, it's a little heartbreaking, but I don't like emotions. So I feel bad for Brian because of with his diagnosis. I'm sure that it is incredibly, incredibly hard for him to be where he is.
Yeah.
And, I'm of the opinion that if he really is entirely innocent, which I feel like he is, um, this this gonna fuck with him, his mental health for the rest of his life. What's been done to him, the isolation and you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
definitely gonna take its toll on him health wise and stuff too. Um, because as you said, autists need their routines. They need their and when it's broken and when they're not getting what they need and yeah, it can be really, really bad for them mentally. So but I know he has a great team of people helping him too. Um, so
Absolutely. He'll be all right.
well, I mean, I hope you have an awesome day. You know how much I love you, and thank you so much for coming up and talking to me.
You too. We'll see you around later, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll see you in Canes.
I don't know how to leave this. How do I leave?
Oh, I probably have to boot you out.
Do I
Hang
hit the?
on.
I know where the leave button is.
Bye. All right, guys. Well, isn't it always nice when Twiz pops up, huh? What a nice, calm, relaxing conversation, right? That was nice. Not what I told you this morning. What, Willie? What did I tell you this morning? Did I talk to you this morning? Did I talk to you when I went and got my coffee? Oh, you're right. I did. What did I tell you? I don't remember what I told you, Willie. The brain fog is real, bub. I don't remember what I told you. What did I tell you? I love having Twiz up. Who else? You gotta love it when Twiz pops up, right? It's very a rare occurrence for Twiz to come onto someone's panel. So I'm honored. Love me some Twiz. So what did I tell you, Willie? Because I don't remember. Sorry, pal. I don't remember what I know. I know we talked this morning and I don't know. I'm going to end this in a minute and you can call me and remind me because I truly I know that we spoke when I was getting my coffee and every single thing we spoke about, the conversation's gone. I remember you being on speaker when I was ordering my coffee and that's it. That's all I remember. I'm so sorry. Right. My head's killing me. The brain fog is real. I truly don't remember the conversation, bub. Sorry. You can call me and remind me in a little bit. All right. But yes, guys, I love you. Mods, love you. I hope everybody has an awesome day. Twiz, love having you. As always, thanks so much for coming up and, just letting me dump all of my thoughts onto you. Very much appreciated. And yeah, go enjoy your day. Kane's going live in like, I think 10, 15 minutes, everyone. So definitely see you over there. Yeah. Sound like a plan? And then maybe if I feel up to it, not tomorrow, but maybe a couple days, there's a couple of other things I still want to go over with you guys, but I'm going to wait a couple days and then maybe we'll do it then. But no rush, right? No rush. Nobody's going anywhere and none of these documents are going anywhere. So I'm not in a rush to cover it all. But I hope you guys have a great day. And I'll see you at Cane's, okay? Bye.